they still didn't learn anything about foreskin. But we're talking about it and it's not awkward.
Exactly. We are not here to make things awkward. At the end of the day, I think a big thing that pushed us to even say, let's start a podcast was we would sit in groups with our friends or go out for drinks and we would just start talking about the most random shit and in depth. Like you are getting the R18 version of what we are saying. And they're like, you guys, like, you know, fair enough. You should start a podcast. And we were like,
that topic in particular, like we talk about it with our friends all the time because there's people that have experience with it, people that don't, and there's people like me that are like, what the fuck is this?
Welcome back to your favourite podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We are sitting here with our good friends, Alissia and Abby. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight.
Thank you so much for having us, guys. Very appreciative.
Before the Money Friday, how good is this? The second block party we've now thrown. How is the spectacle? It came together quite nicely for you guys.
Absolutely epic. You guys, amazing.
Smashed it. We can't believe we got here and we're like, wait, this is fast? Why?
Well, we're going to find out shortly.
Exactly.
So what's really interesting about you guys is, you know, when we first met, instantly we knew you guys had a lot to talk about. You showed that in your true colors. But we got chatting and you guys were talking about the potential of you starting up a podcast. Because you guys are your best friends. You're joined at the hip. You know, we see you guys together all the time.
Crime.
So let's kick it off. Firstly, what is this newfound podcast called? And then we'll jump into why the fuck you want to start a podcast.
I'll let Abby take the ropes here. Yeah.
Right. So basically, we've been friends for years, but in the last probably 6 to 12 months, we have just
formed a bond.
Yeah,
you know?
We're bonded. Like, as you said, we're joined at the hip. Like, we meet people and they go, oh, you live together? And we're like, no, we don't live together. You'd think we would because we're with each other 24/7. They're like, oh, yeah, Liss, she's your partner, yeah. Oh, sorry. She's your partner, yeah. And I'm like, in crime?
Yeah.
Yes. But, like, very much straight and so is she. Like, we get a bit of confusion
Hey, it's
there.
2021. Come on.
That's it. Everyone's open-minded.
Yeah.
But
And we started with just our friendship and our chats get very, very deep and very...
yeah.
We have a lot of opinions about a lot of things, and we got talking one day and we're talking about this stuff and we're just like, fuck, like people need to hear this. There's a lot of topics that we cover, especially on mental health, sexual health, women's health, all of that kind of stuff that we're so interested in. And I'm doing my teaching degree and sex ed has become a really big focus for me, and a podcast is basically using those skills and everything I've learned from my degree to inform people on a lot of things that I wish I knew, from the ages of 16 to 22.
They're not covered very well. Sex ed is not covered in schools.
No, all of that really taboo.
Yeah,
gross.
that's all it is.
Yeah.
Just the basics.
Yeah, it's very, I think people get grossed out by a lot of what gets brought up and it needs to stop. We need to know the truth. Everybody needs to, you know, realize what's actually going on. Don't be awkward. That is also the name of the podcast.
Don't be awkward.
Don't be awkward. So we want to touch on everything that we've spoken about behind closed doors, and we're like, you know what, let's publicize this because I feel like a lot of people can learn from what we have to say. Because, you know, we don't mind sharing our opinion. We want to get our point across. We've got very different opinions too. I don't always
Which is
agree
healthy.
with Abby.
Very healthy.
We're very different in our reactions to things and things like that. But this all came about because I went on a prac and I had sex ed in my year 5 class, and honestly, it was crap. It was shit. Didn't like it. Thought it was, all the kids were so awkward. They would come up to me and they go, oh, Miss Smart, like, we don't want to do it. We want to go home early. We don't want to do this class. And I'm like, why? You're going to learn about it anyway. Would you rather that your parents sit you down and talk you through it, or would you rather do it in class with me where it's fun? Yeah. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, we'd rather do it with you. And I'm like, yeah, we'll just sit down and listen. And it's, you know, it's natural. It's normal. There's no reason as to why you shouldn't be learning this because it's stuff that's going to happen to you.
In like Sweden and the Netherlands, they cover it so in depth from such a young age, and they have like one of the lowest sex crimes in all of the world.
There you go.
You know, because it's covered, and people in like a lot of places across Europe, nudity is such a common thing. You know, it's so accepted.
It is.
And same as talking about, you know, your sexuality or, you know, your sexual experiences, your failures, all that kind of stuff. Whereas here, I don't know, for whatever reason, we're so sheltered. We're so, you know, don't look at my nipples type vibe.
Yeah.
A lot of the people here like really worry about what other people think. I've noticed that like some people, they don't want. It's like that moment of like, I can't post this or I can't say this because then people are gonna know that I have sex.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
Right.
what's wrong
all
with that?
do. Like,
Right.
They know you do. They
Yes.
think about it, to be honest.
And at the end of the day, man, times are changing. Times are
Yeah.
changing. It's
So
becoming way
quickly.
more accepted. We've got OnlyFans now. Like that's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
full-time career for some people out there, and
Yeah.
that's
I know.
just sexual, you know?
Making
I'm
more
thinking
money
of
than I thought.
quitting the fashion business, stepping into OnlyFans.
I thought
Yeah.
about it. I'm like,
We've talked about it.
I mean, if we just block our faces, we'll be
We've
right.
talked this whole thing through, but unfortunately, you know, being a primary school teacher is
yeah.
There's a fine line.
Always
There's
have
a
a
fine
side.
line.
Always have a side hustle.
That could be the thing
Yeah.
that makes you all the money there.
I've always said
like all
that.
the role
Yeah.
playing scenes. And
I
stuff,
mean,
like-
maybe after this, we'll do some research. We'll jump on Google. We'll see how
the
we
only
go.
thing I'm going to be posting is my fucking feet. That's all you're going to see me on.
Yes, yes.
This is a little bit of a tangent, but if you are ever interested in selling foot pics or your unused underwear online, you can clean up. How weird is that?
100%.
The
We've talked
amount
about it.
of request
Oh.
messages Abby and I get throughout the week of want to be my sugar baby, want to send me feet pics, want to send me your bras, I will pay you X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, honey, I mean, I'm tempted, but come on. Like,
Talk to me
people
next
do
week.
this. Yeah.
a three-figure balance and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Pay me first and we'll go from there.
Yeah, legit.
But you're right. It's really, really common. And I don't know, it's kind of sad.
It's a
Like
little
people
bit
do that
weird.
for a living.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm in the wrong field of work. I don't know.
Awesome. So in this new podcast, so one thing that really interested me is because I think you guys got a very similar dynamic to Reese and I. See, like we have some episodes where it's just us and Scott in the booth will tune in. We just have like D&Ms, basically. We just lay it all out there. And then sometimes we get guests in and, you know, we learn a lot from these guests and it's a completely different dynamic. So that is possible because of the relationship that we have within each other. And I think you guys are going to have a similar kind of advantage with your relationship. You don't necessarily need anyone else for this podcast to operate. But when you do bring another perspective into the group, that adds like such a powerful kind of contrast and addition of energy, basically. So are you thinking on, for this podcast, are you going to have mainly female guests, male guests? Do you want to mix it up? Like are you guys going to be talking about it from the women's perspective? Like give us a little bit of an insight what your plans are.
It'll definitely be a big mix. So I
Yep.
think what
Yep.
Abby and I have come across is a lot of what we know the male population doesn't know, and they should, and vice versa.
Yep.
So honestly, yeah, I think it'll be the best
It'll
of
be
both
mixed
worlds.
for sure because we want to get male perspectives on a
Yeah.
lot of like we want to get your perspective on a lot of things that we talk about, like, and we also want to get the female perspective. We want to give the female perspective to male viewers because you know there's
They
a lot
can
of
learn
things
from that. Like there's
we
a lot
say.
you guys don't know, and like as Abby touched on earlier, like women's sexual health, and you know that should be something that we both equally know the right amount of information about, and sadly we don't. So I feel like getting the 50-50 opinions on anything
Is really
on
important.
anything is really, really important because I feel like females might have one certain opinion, males might have another. You join the two, might come to an understanding, you know? So
Even
yeah.
though we're very different in our opinions, it's good to get a different perspective on things, like because some people can get so stuck in their opinions. It's good to get different perspectives on things. So it's not just I'm pushing this opinion and I'm pushing it until you believe it. We're not like that. We're like very accepting of different
Find a
opinions.
middle ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
for
what
sure.
excited me about the idea of you guys doing a podcast the most, because after I spoke to you guys that first time, I was like, yeah, they're going to crush it. But then after we met you again and we were kind of starting to talk about getting the male and female perspective, and halfway through that, it was you that kind of cut me off to ask for my
I cut
male
everyone off.
opinion
Yeah.
on the topic that we were talking about at the time.
Yeah.
And that kind of like curiosity to know the male side of it as well, being, you know, you guys have said that you guys do have strong opinions. I think it's rare that you get outspoken people with strong opinions who are also very eager to learn the other side of the coin as
Very
well.
true.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
that-
something we always say is we're very open-minded and we don't want to be
Yeah.
closed-minded to things because that's kind of, you know, growing up in a very closed-minded environment is not what we want to do.
Definitely. We're both from very small country towns where your opinion, honestly, is invalid.
Yeah,
And
you're
what you have
wrong.
to say gets pushed to the side. And there's a very set way of life, a very set way of doing things. And I feel like we've branched out and we're like, there is so much more out there. There is so much more to learn. And yeah, everyone
Yeah.
needs to be about it.
And you
so-
mentioned when we met up the other day that you guys are quite nervous about starting a podcast because of putting yourselves in the spotlight because of this amazing thing we have here in Australia called tall poppy syndrome. So
And that's fucking true.
is that, do you think, is that come from maybe your small country town, or you know, like what has made that fear of standing out or following your dreams? Because that's what a lot of
Yeah.
people face, you know,
Yeah.
going outside of the norm, stepping off the tracks and building your own path. That's
Yeah.
terrifying for most people.
I don't know with Abby, but personally, I've always been a very alternative, different person. So going back to a country town where, you know, I wanted to be a hip hop dancer, but a netball player and this and that, and I had so many different interests, it's very cliquey. And if you weren't a part of a certain group, you got bullied, you got judged. And, you know, we're all friends now. Everybody grows up, figures out their path and realizes that high school isn't the be all end all. But at that time, it really puts you in a headspace of this is the way it's got to be. This is it. Like, you're not going to go anywhere unless you're a part of this group or you're doing this. And so to come to the Gold Coast and meet like-minded people like yourself and like Abby and go, you know what? I can do whatever the fuck I want. But it takes people like yourself to believe in us. And I know for...
And certain experiences.
Yeah, because it gets embedded in your head, you know, you feel like you can't branch out and you can't do all of these things. And honestly, to anyone, that's bullshit. Like, give it a go. You're never too old. Just jump in, all guns blazing, and see how you go. But don't let anyone else's opinion, you know.
And don't let your own anxieties stop you from doing things because
Yeah.
honestly, that's how me and Liz met. We had been working together for at least a year, maybe even 2,
Yeah.
before we,
Spoke.
yeah. And it was
Really?
literally-
Honestly, we sat at the same joined desk working
She was
at
behind me
Princess
every day.
Polly every day for over a year. And I had this bad bitch without a cause persona, and I thought she was this stuck up little thing, and we did not
stuck-up little
speak.
Barbie bitch.
But it was the anxiety behind both of us. And then one day we bonded over that, and the rest is history.
The oils was all about the oils. I used to put oils all over myself. Actually, what are you doing?
Like
that for?
essential oils.
Yeah.
Yeah, to like calm the anxiety. I'm like, yo, can I borrow that real quick?
Yeah.
please?"
Need some of that shit desperately.
Yeah, we'd be like snorting that in the lunch break. Like.
I was like, oh, I've got these like little lollies as well. They really
Yeah.
helped. And then we were just bonding over that.
And then it
after that-
escalated. Found out we're both from the same upbringing, and you know we've got the same ambitions, the same goals, but we were hesitant, like you said. We were really nervous, but branching out, reaching out to Reese after 3 years of not speaking, and you know just tapping into the types of groups of people we want to be a part of, and you guys are giving us hope that we can do what we want to do. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
It goes to show, like, it does take just someone to reach out because, like, we just touched on, we worked together in the past as
We
well.
did.
And while you were probably one of the better friends that I had in that job, we weren't very close.
you. No, it was a weird dynamic there, though.
It was very, very strange.
Yeah. I felt like we went back to high school, to be honest.
But
But
then, you know, like we were touching on, and we were talking about earlier, how we probably wouldn't have seen this evolving, thinking back then, like, hey, you guys are going to link up again later, and you can do a podcast. It's going to be a sick party.
You never know
around
what
it.
the
Never
future
know.
holds.
You never know.
Yeah.
No.
And sometimes it just takes somebody to take a chance
It
to
does.
reach
100%.
out and create that connection.
yeah.
And everybody wants that, but I feel like there's a lot of people walking around now that are very hesitant or even scared to make that step. And, you know, I was one of those people, like I said to you before, it was kind of out
Yeah.
of my character to reach out like that. But
And
look
if
at
you
us, like, I'm
didn't,
so
a few weeks
glad
ago, we
that
would
I
not be
did.
here.
Yeah, exactly. Look what we've made a valuable addition to the family that we're building.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because, you know, we
thanks,
just...
guys.
Stop it.
And we are more than happy to be
Yeah.
here. We think all of you are so amazing, and thank you again for this opportunity.
Yeah, we're so funny.
No
It's
need.
huge.
No need. This is. you
We've
know,
been talking
we
about this for
enjoy doing it.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Well,
And
you
you
guys
guys
have
have
brought a
made it.
crowd as well. You know.
We always come with a
We
positive.
always
the whole
come with our
town.
gang gang. Even the last little event we had, we rocked up, and I remember talking to Reese, and he
Oh,
was
I'm
like,
just bringing you a couple of friends.
I'm just bringing a few people. We walk in, and he's like, I'm not gonna lie, like, it's a bit intimidated. I'm like, I'm so
We walked in
sorry.
with like 6 girls.
I was just like, oh.
I'm just here with my roommates,
What's
man. What are you talking about?
I was looking over you boys. You boys are loving it.
Oh.
I wasn't going to turn him around, that's for sure. Anyway, another thing I wanted to touch on as well, because for anyone that's been listening to Before the Money, you know, for any period of time, you've kind of gotten the grips, and if you haven't, by now, you're not listening, that we love ambition. Everything that we do, everything that we breathe, our blood is ambition. And like we say, we're not partial. If you can be ambitious in finger painting for all I care. If you're chasing it with your full heart, like, hats off to you. That's fucking epic. And, you know, you girls, you're ambitious, and, you know, we're all ambitious. But what I find as well, sometimes people have that feeling inside them, and they have these conversations with themselves. They know they can be doing more. They want to be doing more, but they don't make the jump. So what is it that's kind of forcing you guys to make the decision? Abby, you first.
Abby.
She raises her hand politely.
Can you tell she's a primary school teacher raising the hand?
I have one thing to say to that. Me. I've been pushing.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this for a while, like a few months at least. I think pretty much since early.
Yeah.
So New Year's about time.
So,
yeah. And
yeah.
I'm like, we'll talk about these things and we'll have full conversations, and then it's like, yeah.
It comes
But
to
I'm like,
crunch
no, we're
time
doing
and you
it.
freak out. Yeah.
Yeah. And Liss was very like, oh, I don't know. Like, even when you guys reached out, Liss was like, I don't know. And then I got a bit like myself, but then I went, nah, we're not fucking doing that. No, we're not doing that. We're going to go do it because we know we can, and we're going to fucking smash it.
So what persuaded that decision then? What was the mental dialogue there? Because it would have been easy for just to end the, you know, conversation there.
Honestly, you guys gave us an opportunity in which I
We
don't
couldn't
think anyone
refuse.
in their right mind would turn down. Like what you've done for us tonight, and even just saying that this is doable, you can do this. We were like, oh,
You guys saw it in us, and you pushed for it like quite quickly, and then I think that really uplifted our spirits and made us both be like, oh, they see it, like, why don't we? And then now, like, we're like, it's all about mindset. Like, our mindset, we can both go into like a little shell sometimes because we both have very generalized anxiety, but we both push ourselves out of the bounds of that daily and be like, no,
yeah.
stop it.
That's important.
At the
Let's
end of
go.
the day, it's so cliche, but YOLO, guys. Like, that's you only live once. Like, we
Yeah.
couldn't pass up this opportunity. Like, we don't want that day-to-day mainstream, settle down, get a 9 to 5,
No.
sit in an office job. And
We're not made
we
for
have
that.
an opinion. We have a lot to fucking talk about. So why don't we give this shit a go, you know? Yeah.
And it takes somebody starting that conversation as well, you know, because there's going to be lots of people that we try, and what our approach is, we try and bring like a friendly conversation between mates on, you know, big topics, sometimes out there topics that people will probably roll their eyes at. But the way that we put it forward is a fun conversation similar to what you guys are going to be doing. So it opens up the floor for like unlimited topics. You can talk about anything on, you know, a podcast where you control the environment, you control the narrative, you know, you can spread whatever message that you want. And the great thing about the way that you guys are going to go about it, I know I keep making a lot of comparisons between Reese and I and yourselves, but I think there's lots of similarities there.
There is.
We said
we said it after we
Yeah.
all had our little meeting about this. We're like, yeah, we're just like a girl version of this.
Like Reese and Liss are very similar in the fact that they sit back and they kind of take a lot of information in and they go, yeah, like, and me
Just
and
the
Jack are
chill
very like,
vibe.
like we've got so much, like so many things going like this in our brain all the time. We're like ding, 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 ding. And whereas these guys are like, yeah, cool.
We're just all for
yeah,
the
we're very much
ride,
on the same
man.
level in that.
But it
aspect.
balances it out very
Yeah.
well, you know.
It does.
100%.
It's yin and yang, man. It's yin and yang.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, what I'm thinking is, and I kind of lost my train of thought there for a little bit.
Sorry, I have that effect.
This
I'm
is
not,
what
I'm not
happens.
thinking much right now.
Sorry.
When you're kind of sitting down, you're having these conversations. It comes from the gut. It's not like, see, we don't plan for these episodes. You know, sometimes if we're feeling up to it, we might write out a couple of lines as like
Yeah.
a plan, which very rarely gets followed. But so the great thing about these kind of conversations, it comes from the gut and it comes from life experiences. So when you're talking about a topic, say for instance, spitball a topic, it's something to do with sex ed. Foreskin. There we go. See, like if
Wouldn't
if
know
you
about
were,
An issue.
I wouldn't
I
know
wouldn't
about it.
know much about foreskin either.
That's what I mean. People are like, yeah, 80% of guys have. And I'm like, but I'm only got that 20%. I haven't seen the 80%. Someone show me where it is. Scratch that, please.
That's going to be the teaser at the start of the episode.
That's the intro right there.
No, she's right though. We got
I've got a
told
very
like
strong
80%
opinion.
of guys, man, and we're like
Guys,
at
80%
that.
of guys are what?
that
Have their foreskin.
Have foreskin
Have
still,
them.
yeah.
And it
Okay.
scares me. It's like I have foreskin anxiety. I don't know what to do with it.
So you don't
I
like
mean,
the idea of it?
You get used to it.
I
Like
have-
it is what it is.
You
You,
just gotta
learn to deal with
experience
it
it.
like everything
It's like
else.
cock fright. I've got cock fright of the foreskin.
So you don't want to see it?
I don't fuck with the foreskin.
So maybe you should get somebody on with foreskin so they can tell you about
They
what
can tell
living
you
with
Maybe.
foreskin.
glorious perks.
Well, I'm still in my like 5 years of celibacy. Bullshit. 5 years of
bullshit right
singleness.
Celibacy.
So there's a lot more to learn. There's a
See,
lot more
that
things to
that
do.
would be an uncomfortable topic if,
Yeah,
you know, if we
yeah.
tried to take it too seriously.
No, I
But-
talk about it all the time.
But
Yeah.
I'm sure that
This
they
is the
still
shit we
didn't
talk
learn
about.
anything about foreskin, but we're talking about it and it's not awkward.
Exactly. We are not here to make things awkward. At the end of the day, I think a big thing that pushed us to even say, let's start a podcast
Yeah.
was we would sit in groups with our friends or go out for drinks and we would just start
Talk about
talking
that
about the
stuff.
most random shit and in depth. Like you are getting the
Yeah.
R18 version of what we are saying. And
Yeah.
they're like, you guys, like, you know, fair
'Cause-
enough. You should start
Yeah.
a podcast. And we were like,
That topic in particular, like we talk about it with our friends all the time because there's people that have experience with it, people that don't, and there's people like me that are like, what the fuck is this? What do I do with it?
and
What
then
if
I'm
I come
here like,
across
all
it?
right, we're going to go through YouTube tutorials.
We're
I'll show
gonna
you what you got to do.
explain it all. We're going to explain exactly what to do from like dot point presentation. And then that's how we learn these new things. And then we know what to do. And then we come to it. And then it happens. And it's like, all right, I know what to do. Still don't know what to do with that because it freaks me the fuck out.
You'll
but
learn it soon.
The
You'll
thing
learn
that
it soon.
the thing that scares me about foreskin is dick cheese.
That's why
That's
I
only if
have
they
to
don't
do it.
shower.
Yes.
If he's smelly, I don't
Yes.
want
I
a
don't
fucking part
know
of
that.
it.
No,
Do you
but if
wanna
you
take the
gone-
chance?
You gone on a night
Hygiene.
out. You guys are fucked up. You go back to his.
Been
Like, are
dancing
you
all
going to be like,
night. That's why
motherfucker,
I'm-
can you have a shower first,
That's
please,
why
if you've
I'm
got
scared.
foreskin? Is
One
that a
bad
conversation?
experience, and that's all it needs, and then you're scarred for life. And I'm telling you, I'm scarred for fucking.
What if he doesn't shake enough times? You know, it's like it's just catching way too much. I'm not about it.
That's why I'm not about it. I don't do
Yeah.
I
turtlenecks
agree.
in the fashion sense, in the dick sense. That's it.
Oh,
Love
fuck.
it.
Well,
I'm so keen for your podcast.
We are
Holy
going to be
shit.
touching on some shit,
I'm gonna
man.
get
I'll
in
tell
so
you that
much
much.
trouble.
So much trouble.
So-
She might not be a primary school teacher after this,
I
guys.
don't think anyone's gonna.
on to
hurt me.
bigger and better things.
That's it.
You're going to be international sensation. So we're about to wrap up this first section. And after we come back from the brief interlude, it'll only be a couple of seconds in your time, but we're going to have a quick 5-minute break.
I'm gonna go have a drink.
Yeah, I need
Yes.
another drink. So what we're going to do when we come back, let's dive into some more topics that you got kind of going to be covering in the podcast. We, as males, might even give you our opinion. We don't even know. But
Perfect.
so
Oh, we
yeah,
got plenty.
we were thinking, Reese and I were chatting, you know, let's turn over the reins a little bit. It's still going to be a group conversation and give us a little bit of a taste of what Don't Be Awkward is going to bring to the
Yeah.
world.
Before the money
we your
becomes,
guest.
don't be awkward.
Fucking know. The takeover.
Yeah.
Amazing. Appreciate
you're
it.
on my
Girls, we are
podcast now.
on. Girl gang.
You,
let's
you
go.
want to hand over the reins, or you won't get them back?
Hey, sweet. My hands are lighter.
Look, if you do a better job than we do, look, take it.
No, we'll just add you guys in. It's all right. We ain't leaving you. You
I just
gave
want
us this
royalties. That's
opportunity.
it. Sweet.
Don't forget me when you famous.
Before the money, baby. Let's go. Come on.
All right, guys. Thank you for welcoming us. Fucking, I just fucked it up already. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3. Cut. All right. Thank you for joining us back on Don't Be Awkward. This is our podcast now, and we just have a few questions for you. This is Don't Be Awkward. Welcome to
The
space.
It's a pleasure to be here.
official takeover of Before the
Thank
Money.
you for having us, guys.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Thanks
really
for coming
appreciate
to
it.
our studio.
Yeah, no.
So basically, this is a little intro to our podcast, and it's going to be a very personal, very...
Just real.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like I said earlier, R18 version of the shit that we talk about on a day-to-day because, quite frankly, we don't have a filter, which
Especially me.
some people have an issue with. So if you do, please just steer
not your
clear now,
podcast.
but
Yeah.
you know.
If you don't like strong opinions and open conversation and vulgar chat, it's not the podcast for you. So please kindly leave. But basically, we just want to talk about everyday issues and everyday things that we talk about. And one thing we talk about quite regularly is being, single in this day and age is dating and dating stories. And we've got a few dating stories, a few funny dating stories we'd like to get your opinion on.
Okay.
Liss, would you like to take it away or...
Okay, all right. I've got a good one. It's Abby's story, but we'll start there. I'm happy to share it. It's the first thing that's come into my mind, and quite frankly, it makes me fucking laugh. So she calls me. She's gone on this date. She's obsessed with this guy. He's amazing. Well, seems amazing.
Let's give him a fake name for the purpose
Let's
of
give
the
him
story.
a fake name. What? All right, we'll let you guys come up with
Dave.
it. What do you, Dave.
Sounds
Shit
like a
name.
fuckwit.
Let's brainstorm a bit better. here,
Honestly,
Jack. Come on.
Honestly, Dave is perfect. This motherfucker doesn't deserve a better name. He gets Dave.
You're not wrong. All right, I take it
With
back.
what he did, he gets Dave. So, it's a first date. You're talking on Instagram because apparently that's what you do now. That's just the only way to
We
communicate.
slide into the DM.
Millennials. He's hitting her up on Insta. Let's go to the movies. Yeah. Yeah, we all like the movies.
classic.
I love the
classic.
movies.
The good old let's go to the movies, hide in the back corner, make out, just watch a horror movie, babe. I got you. Don't worry.
I'll keep
So
you
they-
safe, baby.
I'll keep you safe, baby.
I got
That's it. That's it. So they go. He walks up to the counter, buys himself a ticket, and then tells Abby to go and get her own.
He didn't
Now-
say anything, actually. He just stood there. and
Stepped
I just
aside.
kind of looked and was like, all right. Paid my own fucking ticket then.
Now my question is, if you boys just say you were both single and you just met this beautiful, gorgeous girl to the right of me, and your plan was to take her to the movies, would you go up, buy yourself a ticket, and then tell her to sort herself out? Or would you, it's your idea. You pay for her.
You picked me up.
Yeah.
You
to
picked
the
her up.
movies. What's your take?
You
on
wanted to do
So
it. She's spending
First
her
date
Wednesday night
etiquette.
with you.
this? First date etiquette. What do you think?
It comes into he asked you, he should have paid. Put out that now. Like, I've been on dates where we've paid our own way, but I kind of if I've been on a movie date before where the girl that I took, she went and paid for herself first. That's my indicator. Like, yeah, okay, we're just paying our own ways. If I'd asked you to come, then I would have paid. for it.
All right.
It would be done by the time you get there. I'm big on that shit. I like that one.
Pay for it
You're a
before
gentleman.
you
Boys,
get
that's
there.
one of my little tricks. You take a chick to the movies, have the tickets bought before she gets there.
Oh,
I like that.
Prepared.
I really like
Wow.
that.
Prepared.
So I'm on a very
Gold
similar
star.
wavelength to Reese over here, but at the same time, if say for instance the girl said, you buy the tickets, I'll buy the snacks, that's such a baller move, and it's because like at the end of the day, most of the time if the girl offers, I'll probably say no, but the offer is so cool.
The offer, when you offer, like me and Liz say it all the time, you offer
Always.
always.
See, I'm a big believer. I don't like people paying for me.
I
This
do.
is obviously Abby's situation, which I find quite funny because for me, I'm the complete opposite. Again, different opinions.
I like being taken care of. Liz likes taking care of herself.
I like taking care of myself. I like being independent and doing my own thing. And so for me, probably wouldn't eat away at me as much as it did the phone call I got from her later that night.
She hasn't slept in years.
She was not happy.
I was on one.
But honestly, like I do get it as well. If it's your idea, you're taking someone out, like just take that initiative or at least offer. You know, I'm someone that if someone offers me, I'm like, no, I'm all good. I'm all good. But make the gesture. You know, there's still that little bit of respect. Like,
I think it's
First
just
dates
like,
are awkward to begin with. Don't make it more awkward. Do the best that you can to make it as least awkward as possible.
have them
And if
ready,
that
boys.
takes me paying, like straight up without even like talking about it with me, just putting my card down, that's what I'll do. And that's what I did in that situation. Didn't say anything. I just went, beep, all done.
Yeah.
have them tickets.
And
ready,
how'd the
boys.
rest of the date go? What was his persona like?
You could tell there was a weird, because I can't keep my face straight. That's my issue. Like, if something pisses me off, I'm there and I'm like,
he could tell. He could tell.
the energy was off, and you could tell it was off. I got out of that car and I fucking walked so fast inside because I just wanted to call Liss and tell her about it. Like, yeah, like the energy, like it was a good day. I'm not gonna say he's not a good guy. I think he's great. I think a lot of the guys I see are great, but there's also a point where I go, yeah, I'm not gonna date you. So that pedestal goes from here to here real fast, and I'm like, oh,
And so are all dates put forward with the intention of dating, if that makes sense?
Ooh.
it depends.
That's
Where-
the hard
where's the
one
line?
because
Yeah.
I
Depends how
feel
much you
like
talk about it.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like there's either like a big chemistry with how you're talking to the person, and maybe you want to look at it as a date, future partner, potential, you know, or I mean nowadays it's just sex.
That's the thing with dating these days is it's like
You don't
come
know.
over. Like you
Yeah.
get a message, oh, when are we hanging out?
It's
When you asked
12:03.
me
What
to
the fuck
hang
do you
out.
mean?
Thank you. Thank you. I literally had someone message me at 1 a.m. like this morning, and I was like, is that all I'm worth? Like, no, that's not going to work for you anymore. I'm sorry.
It's the same with the complimentary shit. Like, oh, you're so hot. You're hot.
I'm more
Is that all
than
you
that.
got? Is that all you got?
3-letter word.
Yes, it was you the other day that said you are worth more than 3 letters.
Yeah.
And you know what, guys? Just try that little bit harder.
Yeah.
It's not difficult.
I have an issue with men these days and the amount of effort. It's like, oh, when are we hanging out? It's like when you ask me, when you initiate and you be like, hey, I want to take you on a date. Hey, I want to take you out. Lead with that. Don't lead with, when are we hanging out? Because then I'm like,
Be straight
I'm
up.
going to rebuttal this, right? So there is kind of like an unspoken fear that girls love to kind of, and you know, I think guys do this probably just as much, and I'm sure you'll have an opinion, but
always.
there's always, I suppose, like when guys reach out, it's like open-ended out of a fear of kind of rejection or a cold shoulder.
It's a
Yeah.
fear of
You know?
rejection thing for sure.
100%.
People get caught up in their own anxieties that they don't go fully into things. And I'm an all or nothing type of person. We've had this conversation.
Yeah, a big thing I noticed between Abby and I too is the fear of rejection. Is like Abby wouldn't message a guy first. Like
Never.
Bumble. We've all heard of Bumble. The
Just
girl
dating
has to
apps in
message
general,
first.
yeah.
Dating apps in general. I'm the complete opposite. I will be so forward, so straight up, because if the guy doesn't like that, fuck off. See you later. That's how I am. But, you know, it's different with everybody.
I'm not an approacher and I never have been. And she's helped me become more of an approacher. But I've always been a sit back and let them come to me type of person. I'm not a massive approacher. And that's just kind of who I am. But Liss is the complete opposite. And it comes into effect with a lot of things. Do you know what I mean? Like, before I met Liss, I was very like confused with my own self of identity. And then I feel like since we've become friends, I've come into my style, I've come into my personality so much more because we lift each other up and we, you know, bring forward the best parts of each other and we surround ourselves with people that do that. And that's really important, not
Yeah.
only in dating, but with just your friendships and your everyday life.
Sometimes all it takes is one person to get it, for you to feel comfortable enough in your own skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
person to get what you're trying to do, and then that somehow within your own mind validates what you're trying to do or who you're trying to be, what you're trying to
Totally.
become, all that kind of stuff. Interesting. What else have you got for us?
We have this concept that of a, so we
Well,
have
this could be anything, not just
what we're
Yeah.
thinking of, but there's always a feature. We called it a hot identifying attractive feature on a man
Okay.
that is a non-negotiable when it comes to the guys that we date, and we like to call it the hands.
The hand.
the sexy hands. All right, so there are little things that girls pick up on with guys that are sexy for no fucking reason.
Okay.
Like,
For
okay,
no
he looked at
reason.
me like over the shoulder. Fuck, damn. He was
When he
like,
puts his hat on backwards and he does like
oh my God.
I
and
see
one
those
thing,
memes. I see those memes everywhere.
5 things guys do that are hot for no reason.
Okay.
Those types.
Enlighten us.
One of them, bro, the hands.
What about the hands?
What makes a good hand?
It's the strong, tanned, like, you know when you can tell guys have just got like strong hands and they're like muscular and they've got the veins and they've just like got these strong, like no bitten fingernails. Sorry, all you anxious people out there.
Yeah, sorry. I'm out. I'm tapping out, boys.
Like good hands,
Apologies.
good, clean, strong, like working man hands that you can just like, you look at him and you're like, he's got the hands.
The hands. Okay.
Is there a
Important
feature, so for girls, like for you guys, is there something completely random that you probably don't tell others? Like Abby only mentioned it to me a few weeks ago and I was like, you know what, that's something I do look at but I've never publicized. I'm not going to go up to someone and be like, your hands are beautiful.
I'm a massive stickler for a nice neck.
A neck.
That's a
Need a
weird
nice
one.
Dude, we've all got a little
Explain.
thing. Right.
I think it just stems from, you know, like everybody has that little, you know, that little.
How they
fantasy of
hold their
somebody
head,
all
hey.
all up on your neck. You know, we've all been there. You
My
know,
head's
you
all
want
over.
someone who's like, kissing up on your neck and stuff like that. I'm like, I think
Got
I
a neck
leaned into
fetish.
that. You know, like.
Yeah.
There's a lot of girls who like being kissed on the neck, so I'm like, hey, I want a nice neck to kiss.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Long doesn't have to be long though. Soft is the big one for me. If you've got a
Soft
soft
skin.
neck,
Amazing.
soft
Banging
neck,
butt, I'm
that's-
telling you.
That's it.
Fuck, bro. That was such a good
Sponsor me,
answer.
please.
I don't even think I have it. I don't have an answer that good. I don't know. I'm like real fucking basic. Like it's eyes for me. It's all in the eyes.
Is there a
Eyes.
certain
Song.
eye color
Blue.
or blue?
Yeah,
Oh, well,
straight
fuck,
up.
I'm out. Reese, Reese, we out. We out.
So I got
Sounds
the dark as they come.
Yeah.
Dark eyes are nice though, like on like dark feature people, like it suits.
I've seen a couple
Yes,
of pictures of myself, and I like that my eyes do this because they're so dark they almost look black. But you catch them in the
Same.
right light,
And they
that
sparkle.
brown really comes through.
It's like a
We
golden
golden,
brown.
babe.
it's
We
just
golden.
Like, you look like
Straight
a
up.
vampire or some shit.
Yes.
I love that.
We're
shit.
having our Edward color moment. You know what that is.
I would
For
love
sure.
to glow in the sunlight.
I glow in the sunlight
That
when
bit
I
of
don't have fake tan on.
sparkle. We
Oh,
do what we
shit.
gotta do.
Yeah.
Winter's rough,
Yeah.
man. It's
How
What about
much
rough.
do
you
you guys
guys?
spend a year on sunscreen?
On sunscreen,
Yeah, 'cause I
mate.
don't spend
Sunscreen doesn't
anything.
exist. We got tan and oil.
Yeah, but all your moisturizers have sunscreen and stuff
Yeah.
in
Some,
them. You know.
some.
All right,
Some-
so we
yeah,
do.
true, some.
This is one thing I love with Abby. So before meeting Abby, I was fucking basic. I never looked
Mm-hmm.
after myself. I was very just shampoo, conditioner, cheap as fuck moisturizer, cheap skincare, and
then
this
she met
chick,
me.
and then I met Abby.
And I've got a product for everything.
Absolutely,
Each day of the
everything.
week.
And one thing is moisturizer. And
Moisturizer
oh my
is so
God,
important.
So
So
important.
underrated.
But so fucking expensive.
Yep.
This shit adds up. I tell you what, like I became friends with her and I'm like, all right, I need to maintain my eyebrows, my lashes, my
a
nails,
high
my
maintenance
petty,
bitch.
my tan, my hair. And I'm like, fucking
Yeah.
dollar bills.
Yeah.
Being a
man.
girl's expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, I
like,
bet.
And I don't know if guys really realize that. Like, how much do you reckon per week? Or maybe let's go fortnight. So every fortnight we get our lashes done, nails, fake tan. How much do you reckon
And like
effort you
when
guys
you
put
go
in?
and drop, like when you go and restock makeup, you're dropping hundreds of dollars at a
Yeah,
time.
that's
Yeah.
not cheap
Yeah.
You know?
shit.
Yeah, man.
I've been in Sephora. Fuck.
I don't
That's
wanna
a wonderland in here.
Jesus Christ. I could buy
Mm-hmm.
a whole new gaming cabinet with one product.
yeah.
Fuck that.
Shit's expensive. Like,
And you know what? On like the anarchy side of me is kind of going like, how come all that shit is not tax deductible yet we can tax razors?
What?
Yeah.
excuse me?
I'm sorry, what? I
Like,
didn't
we
even
can-
know
we
that
can-
was
we
an
can
option.
claim our razors. Yeah.
Bullshit.
Can we claim our
You can't
tampons
claim.
and shit?
No,
Like,
love to
that's
be
the
able to
big.
claim
That's the
not
fuck
every-
thing.
you can't claim
You
tampons.
can't claim
All right,
tampons.
Women's health
This
products.
This is something we can't control, guys.
And you
Come
know
on.
why? It's because it's like, oh, it's a choice.
Yeah,
I didn't choose to have a vagina.
Exactly. Like I think that's just pathetic. Honestly,
It is.
you guys are choosing to shave. Like, We're choosing to stay clean. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Not ruin every pair of pants. you own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This shit's expensive.
It's crazy
You get
though.
good
Like,
money for that, though.
Oh, bro.
Even more so.
You
I
went
bet.
there.
Even more
You
so,
went
I bet. There's some weird cuts out there.
yeah. What about you guys? Do you have any weird dating stories or like anything that stands out that you can kind of share with us today to embarrass yourselves? Because we're all about that. We're all about
I
embarrassing
just stepped
ourselves.
out of a 7-year relationship.
Fuck off!
Yeah.
No way.
Shit.
I didn't know that.
No, we
there's a lot you don't know
didn't.
about me.
All right.
Yeah.
Bow, bow,
right.
bow, bow.
I'm
Tell us
quite
about
fresh.
it. Tell us your trauma.
Well, we were like quite literally best friends since grade 9, early grade 9. We met on a double date with my best mate. He
So
was
it's that baby
dating her.
relationship shit.
So yeah, that's the thing. So
yeah.
although we were quite gifted in the sense we could grow together, there's still always going to be, when you're with someone from, like adulthood into, adolescence into adulthood,
Yeah.
You're growing together.
but there's always kind of that, I won't call it baggage because that has a negative connotation, but I don't know what else to call it. There's always like that history that holds you in a certain light. It holds you in a certain way of being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although we could grow together, there was always that history that was, over the top of us. And we've gone off to do separate things. Thankfully, it was a very like cordial separation. Like we were best friends for a lot longer than we were dating.
Yeah.
So nothing
We
bad
had dinner
happened.
with
No,
her
no,
the
no,
other
that was-
night.
That's good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't awkward?
No.
You were
Like,
good?
Don't be
like I'm
fucking
so
ugly.
I'm
Don't be
so
awkward.
lucky because it was such a fairy book kind of, and I won't even call it an ending because it was just an ending to our relationship. But I'm house sitting their house right
Yeah.
now because they're on
Not a
holidays.
friendship.
You know,
Not the end of the friendship.
no, and like obviously we had to take our break.
Yeah.
We've given ourselves some distance, but the hope is that we can become close again because I've known her sister for over half her life, and like her family's like my family.
It was
you know?
honestly
Yeah.
really cool the other night when we went out to dinner. We'd done a photo shoot. We went out to dinner and she happened to be at the restaurant that we were at. And her and her friend came and sat down with us and had dinner
Perfect.
with
Yep.
us. And
Yeah.
it was not awkward at all. And that whole time I was thinking, I was like, this is really, really cool to witness
Yeah, man.
that
And
you guys can just be here like that pretty soon after as well. And yeah, it was just really cool to behold. 'Cause
at
We've
the
been
end
together
of the
for
day,
ages,
like,
like-
I can touch on
Yeah.
that too. I was with someone from 16 to 21, 22 years old, and I feel like there's no hate towards that person at all. You hold so much love and so much care and so much respect for them. But if you grow into two different people, it is what it is.
And if you grow and put yourself into someone else, we're not friends anymore. In my
That's
experience, I can't say I have an experience like yours, but
No, see, I had a civil ending, just like yourself. Like, we grew up. I still love him to pieces. I have nothing bad to say about him, but I want to travel. I want a gypsy lifestyle. I want to be free and do my thing. And I don't think it's what he wanted, and that's okay. It was so heartbreaking, but you can't hold on to that. Like, I'm only 24. There's so much more life out there.
Yeah,
And like Abby, she's been through such a different situation, similar, but so different. She got brokenhearted, and mine was a civil
no, I didn't
ending.
have a broken heart.
She
Cold bitch.
brutal bitch.
Hold the fuck up.
But ours was a civil ending. We hit a point where we were like, you know what? Let's go our separate ways. Like, it is what it is. We want different things, and that's okay.
It's
This
hard
poor
when
girl
you
got cheated on, and then that's a whole other fucking kettle of fish in itself.
Yeah,
and
that's a different story.
that creates, obviously, you can't go out to fucking dinner and make it be.
Oh
not
no, I
awkward.
did though. I made even though it was a really shit ending and like a long time coming type of thing. I still like took the higher ground and was still friends with all of my old friends and everything like that. But it's at some point you kind of got to take a step back and be like, assess the situation, be like, am I really being supported here, or am I just being made a joke of? So there's a certain point when you have to assess the situation and figure out when's the right time to walk away. And I was okay with everything because I knew it was the end of our relationship, even though I found out that I got cheated on. Don't fucking do that to me ever again, anybody, or I'll fucking smash you. If anyone does that to me again, you'll fucking hear it. For sure. But I
You'll
handled
be
it
blasted
really well.
on the podcast.
The next
The last
episode.
to the past. So fuck with me again, I dare you. No, but it was a weird situation. I handled it like so well, and for
You
me, I'm a
did.
massive
You
hothead.
did.
Like I pop my top real fast, real quick, go straight in for it. But I handled that situation so calmly and was like, it's fine. And I was still friends with them all. But at a certain point, I went, you know what? I can't do this anymore.
You detached.
Yeah.
Because
You-
it draws so much energy to
Yeah.
kind of have to be okay with that situation.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. And I knew I was better than that situation, and I knew that I was above that, like being in a situation where I was disrespected. So you have to remove yourself from a situation at some point when you figure out it's not serving me anymore and it's not doing great things for my mental health anymore, and you have to pull yourself from that situation and figure out when it's time to move on with your life. And that's what I did, and honestly it's the best thing I ever did, and I'm fucking like loving life at the moment. Like I'm loving being single, I'm loving my friends, loving what we're doing with our life, and it's on and upwards.
It's very
Amazing.
interesting how it differs between people to people. Kind of touching back on the you guys having been in relationships that ended cordially. I was in a 5-year-long relationship which ended cordially, and we haven't spoken since.
Wow.
Even though we said we would, even though we said we'd probably
Yeah.
be friends continuing
I
on.
get
Yeah.
that.
It's just, again, we were different people from where we started. And then at the end, like, we knew that we didn't want to be there anymore, both of us, but it wasn't in
Yeah.
the sense of like, hey, like, we'll still be, we just both knew that was kind of it.
That
Yeah.
was it. And honestly, like, to be completely straight up, I think it's a good thing you guys don't speak anymore. Like, I took the breakup and then took 2 years and still am healing from it because I stayed in touch with that person for so long. And like I said, there's so much love there. Like, as you all of you know, you can't just switch those feelings off. It doesn't fucking work like that. It does not just turn off. So, you know, for me, like, dragging it out for a couple more years, hoping maybe we can get back together. We'll see how we go. And then just copying the, you know, I've moved on. It is what it is kind
And
of
they
thing.
always
and
move on really
hurt.
fast too.
It
the boys I
hurts.
find always
Especially
move on
when
quicker
you-
than
Yeah.
the girls.
And it sucks to see him happy with somebody else. So honestly, I think you've done a good thing in not keeping tabs on that
Yeah.
person. Like, as much as it is good to be there for them, because like I said, you can't switch those feelings off.
Yeah.
That you've got that care
You're
for
a
them.
very close
Yeah.
friend.
You need to
above all.
guard your
Yeah.
heart. And I'm telling you right fucking now, to hear that they've moved on, it's not an easy thing to cope with. It's inevitable. But to hear it straight up, because you know you're still in touch and you're
And to
friends,
see it.
you know it's not
Well,
ideal.
that's
So
what I
you
used
you
to
did
say
a
to
good
her
thing.
all the time though, because like she would be more the one instigating that conversation of, hey,
Okay.
we'll still be friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, maybe we will be friends, but we're not gonna be friends straight away.
And that's
We're
one
not
thing.
gonna
You need your space.
Yeah.
Be
that we've
straight back into the spot. Hey, I can just hang out with you casually.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe we will be friends. Maybe because we ended cordially, we might be friends later on in life.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Ending civilly, like, gives you the opportunity. Like, I'm a big believer in not having burnt bridges. Like, there's people that really, like, have
Don't hold grudges.
disrespected
do.
me in my own mind. But at the same time, like, the door is always open because people change. I know I've changed a lot, you know. There's a very good friend of mine now, you know, Zach, outside. We have become very close in the last probably 6 months after not speaking each other because, you know, we didn't necessarily gel. But now, you know, like, best mates kind of thing. He's here, he's helped us with this, and, you know, people change, and by holding a grudge, you stop someone from changing.
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
good
Horizon
advice.
Mexico.
I wish I could take it.
good
No, we're
in
very
theory,
like.
hey.
I mean, we've talked
Yeah.
about this the other day.
do,
is
you
it's,
do.
it's
You
hard,
come
like, you know,
around.
especially when you come out of a relationship, you need that clean break, and you need that no contact. You need
do.
you can't see,
You do.
you know, them on social media all the time. Like, my ex deleted his Instagram as soon as we broke up because he didn't want to see me. Anyway,
And then it got It got reactivated a few
This
days
week.
ago, and I got a phone call straight away, and she's like, "He's
Holy
back
shit.
on," and I'm like, you need to just mute it. Like,
Yeah.
people can cope with certain
But that
things,
break
but
was great. He didn't have it. I didn't have to see anything. Like, you know, he's got a new girlfriend now. I hope you're happy. Cunt. But that clean break is really what you need. Like Liss was saying there, she's like, oh, my ex watches my story all the time. And I'm like, fuck, can't relate. Like, I would feel so anxious if he was the first person to watch my story all the time. But it's nice having that break and not having that pressure of them watching you all the time and what you're doing. Like, I prefer that. And I think that's why, like, as soon as he was on there, I went, nah, I need to remove.
But it's so hard with social media. It's 2021. Like, we are at a point where you can't just like cut people off. That bitch will pop up on Facebook, Instagram, anything. And it's triggering. Like, for me to heal, I need to, they're just all around. And the Gold Coast is a small place.
Yeah. And it hurts so much more when you see it in a place you didn't expect to see it. Like when you see that photo and that person's there with somebody else and they're not the person who posted it, somebody else posted it.
And you've seen
you
it.
See it. It hurts so much more because you weren't expecting
it. Especially when it's a friendship dynamic. When you were friends with a big group of people and they were your lifeline and they were your, you know, your support system, and then that goes away. It's really hard to deal with, especially whenever they've still got their support system and you're not a part of that anymore. It's really hard, but you need to take a step back and be like, I need my own support system. I need my own way of life. I need my own values, and I need my own drive, and I need my own career. Like, you need to have things for yourself, and that's what's important. Is you can't lose yourself when you get into a relationship, because so many people do, and I did. Like, I was not myself. I was a shell of myself, and then now I've come out of this, and I'm
bitch, you have blossomed. You are fucking killing it. So proud of you. But it's true. It's so true. You need to be your own person. And like, I'm at a point now, and I know you are too, like, we want to find someone who's able to grow with us and up on par with us, not someone who's lagging behind. Like, we have so many things that we want to do, so this motherfucker better be up there with us, you know?
You want to be able to have someone if you want to bring someone into your life, not because you need them, but because you want them to complement your life, and you want them to ease into your life in a way that's organic and easy and not hard. And you, like, someone that you don't want to have someone that's a hard work. Do you know what I mean? In saying that, I'm a fucking piece of work, but like, you want someone that can handle
with the job, though.
It's easy if you know what to do.
Exactly.
I know what to do. She's fine.
Don't worry, I don't need
guys. Just come to me. I'll tell you what to do. I'll tell you what to do.
Awesome. So I'm going to reset the cameras real quick, and then we'll come back, wrap this topic. You guys crushed it, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You guys crushed it.
Thank you. Thank you for letting us take over for a little bit.
I'm actually so keen for your guys' podcast.
Yeah,
thank you,
straight
guys.
up.
Like, again, we appreciate it
Sick.
more than you know.
I'm going to reset the cameras real quick, and then we'll head into a wrap up, hey?
Perfect.
I really want to touch on that. We have kind of spoken about you using your younger sister as an example, just before we do start wrapping it up. Is how
the wrap-ups always drag on.
Friendship groups change.
I mean, we still got to do these
so
photos.
much. And you guys touched on it before. You guys knew each other a long time before you were friends. And going back to the example you used with your sister, how she's in a little bit of that late high school turmoil. Things aren't going right with my friends. Stuff like that.
Always happens.
I think that it's really crucial for people who are understanding how this stuff works, which we all have. We talk about it, and to put it out there to the younger people, because we all have experience, and this is how, you know, you are who you surround yourself with. And
I like that.
those people will
see you
change.
guys posting that everywhere, and I'm like, that is a quote that everyone needs to live by. 100%.
Spot on.
But it's really important to know that those people are going to change, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Everyone changes, and you can't help that.
100%. So I just want to like kind of bring that into the topic of conversation, because it's one of the things that I wanted to talk about here tonight, just because we do feel strongly about it. I feel like there's a lot of gems that we can put out to the people that are listening who are struggling with stuff like this, that, you know, just trust the process. That's what I always say, especially when it comes to everything, but especially friends. Trust the process. I kind of have this saying that like I don't make enemies, they make themselves.
Yeah.
And it's because
Yes.
people do come and go.
Yes.
That's basically what I'm trying to say is people
Yeah.
do come and go, and it's important to know that it's the way it naturally occurs.
It is
And
what
like
it
you
is.
said, the best friends that you have right now are the people that you've met in the last
Recently,
year, 2
like
years.
I honestly, my sister, she's probably out there listening to this. I love you.
Skylar, what a dude.
What's up? She called me a couple weeks ago, and she was freaking out. What am I gonna do? What career am I gonna go in? I feel like I'm not as close with my friends as I once was, and I'm like, sweetheart, you're 17. My closest friends in my life I met as of a few years ago.
Yeah.
Abby is one of my best friends. She's my
One of.
sister. The best friend. I'm sorry.
So I think-
And you know, she's only been in my life. Like we've talking for maybe a year and a bit. And before that, we've got Rick, and that's from your time when I worked with you at CK, and that's only maybe 4 years ago. So the most important people in my life currently, right now, who support me till the day I fucking die, have been in my life for like 5 years, and that's it. And I'm trying to make her realize that, because I feel like there's so much pressure when you're in high school. Like for me, I graduated and I had only just turned 17. You don't know what the fuck you want to do at 17. Like, but
you
you
don't even know
think
who you are yet.
you have no idea. You have no idea. It didn't take me until turning 23, 24 to get a bit of an idea of who I wanted to be around, how to cut off people from school that I thought I just had to be friends with because I had to. Like, you know, and realizing all of these things, like to become your own person. And, you know, I'm trying to tell her that now, at her being 17, it's not the be all end all. There's so much more out there. There's a whole world out there. Unfortunately, COVID, we can't experience that right now.
We can
but
within our mind.
within our mind.
Yeah.
And within our state.
It's
Thank God we've got the internet.
it's such a trip for me right now because I'm experiencing that more now than ever before.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
my life right now, I live in this studio with Jack, Scott, Ridley, Will, and these guys are my closest friends I've ever had, and I've only been friends with. We linked up less than a year ago. Scott and I was about 7 months ago.
But you said the other day you guys went to the same school, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
link was always
We've
see?
there.
known each other for
We've
ages.
known
but
each other
yeah.
for
See,
a very
but you
long
didn't
time.
come close until now, and it's
No.
crazy.
I designed his
Time.
first logo.
My very
Yeah.
first logo. That was like
See?
6-7 years ago. But it was a
Insane.
business connection. He reached out to me. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I heard you're making music. I'm a graphic designer. Let me make you a logo. Made me a logo. Couple of years later, I went to visit Jack at a market stall he was doing. Bought a shirt off him. That was the
Yeah.
next connection.
Does he know
Couple
how to
years
real
later,
job?
we ended up in the same uni course together. Didn't talk in the uni course. Just happened to be in the uni course together. And then years later again, hit me up, bro. Let's go for a walk.
Yeah.
We did the same walk that we did,
Did he
with
take
you
10
guys.
pictures on the way?
He let me walk his dog.
You like doing that, don't
Yeah.
you? Every few steps, we're like, what the
Where's
fuck
Jack?
is Jack doing?
Down the hill, down
No,
in the fucking
that's a
rock
new
pools.
thing.
I walk my
that's
own
the last
path.
couple of months.
I like
Good.
that.
That's the last couple of months.
Yeah.
Every now and again, we're just anywhere we're going, Jack disappears. You're like,
You were like, yeah, he does
check his
that.
Instagram.
He
He's
does
probably
that.
taking
Just
a
let him
photo
go.
or something.
It's so funny though,
Oh.
because we were saying like we're sitting there and Liss is like, yeah, we were just sitting there, and Jack went down to the little rock pools and was like, bro, I was literally just thinking about going down there, but I didn't because I didn't want to be rude. But Jack's gone. And I'm just like,
God doesn't give a fuck.
Doesn't give a fuck.
Oh shit.
but yeah, no, on the topic we were on before, like you really do outgrow, you know, high school friends, even though they are people that you grew up with and you love them to death. Just because they're not, like, you know, the quote, just because they're not eating at your table doesn't mean that you don't wish them well, but you just
Yeah.
don't want them at your table because you've outgrown that situation.
cut.
And I think I've outgrown a lot of my friends, and even though I love them to death, they're just not on the same path as me, and they're not on the same journey as me, and I find it hard to relate them. Doesn't mean I don't love them anymore. It just means that we're not on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of courage and knowledge of self to understand that and understand the people that aren't serving you at that point. Even as much as you love them, you understand the tax that they're taking because it is a tax.
Some people
sometimes.
can be really emotionally taxing without realizing it.
Yeah.
Because I say this to Liss all the time. Before you offload onto people, think about it if they're going to be able to receive that and take it in and be able to help you. If they're not in the mind frame to be able to receive that information and help you, if they can't even help themselves. So it's really important to even list sometimes, like, are you in this frame of mind to hear this gut-wrenching story I'm about to tell you about my day? And I mean, I just load it onto it. But
let's be real.
Sometimes it's important to be like, think about it. Can this person receive the load I'm about to offload onto them? And sometimes they're not, and sometimes that's totally fine. It's just not the right time. And you have to sometimes be able to gauge that from people.
Yeah.
Don't be selfish. Take care of others as well. Think about their feelings, how it's going to affect them. It's a ripple effect.
Awesome.
But you guys, I don't know if we have time, but you mentioned you had some archives that are...
So we did scrap that because you guys ended up taking charge.
Sorry.
That was our backup plan.
Yeah,
I was like,
you guys took charge.
Nailed it though. So.
fabulous. Well,
but
that's all right.
That
We
was
don't need
a
to
that
do
was a beautiful segue into our closing out question. Now, this, as always on Before the Money, this kind of ending segment has stretched on because we get chatting, but
As we do.
it's typical. So I've got a question, and I would like you guys to answer it individually. And I feel like we probably have covered it in this episode, but it'd be a nice way to bring it and wrap it up in a little bow, right? So give yourself kind of some advice to, say, maybe yourself 10 years ago, or pick a pivotal moment in your life, whether it was school, leaving school or whatever. Give yourself some advice, back then. Whoever wants to take the stage.
Go on, baby. Kick it off.
All right. I have so many things to say to my old self. Honestly, honey, keep doing your thing. I think the biggest thing to tell my younger self and the younger generation is you're never too old to learn something new. That's a big thing for me. And just keep doing what you're doing. Don't take the judgment of everybody else. Like, my mom is my fucking hero. When I was going through high school and having like an identity crisis, I want to be a hip hop dancer, but to fit in, I have to play netball and do ballet, but I want to learn to skate, but the boys are making fun of me and it's this and it's that. Fuck everybody. Do what you want to do, because at the end of the day, trust your gut. You meet, like you guys, like-minded people that don't judge you for it. They support you and they boost you. And you might not have that at the time. I definitely did it through high school. Like, I had people like, what the fuck? She's so weird. Like this weird, odd blue head chick, But I kept doing my thing. My mom would always say to me, don't change. Don't change. Keep doing what you want to do. And now I'm here. And I have the respect of all the people that used to like give me a bit of shit and bully me a little bit. And now I'm doing what I want to do and I would not change a fucking thing. Stick to your guns. Stick to what you want to do and who you want to be, because at the end of the day, everyone's got an opinion, whether that you like it or not. Like, it is what it is. Everyone's going to judge you. No way. Like,
And
That's
also,
amazing.
like, everyone has an opinion, but not everyone's wrong. Like, everyone has their opinion, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. There's no, like, I've been one to get very stuck in my ways and get very, like, this is how it is. But, like, you grow past that and you get to a point where you're like, not everything is set in stone. Not everything is the way you think it is. And you just got to grow with it and, just grow. Like, there's always things to learn. There's always new information to retain. And there's always ways that you can improve yourself. And as long as you're improving yourself.
Be open-minded. Just, take in
It's a
everything.
superpower.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. Same thing with you. Like, just be open-minded.
Yeah.
Accept everyone for who they are and do
And
whatever
just
the
be
fuck
who
you want to do.
Stop trying to be other people, because I think that's a major thing, especially when you're leaving high school, is you don't know who you are yet and you don't know what you're about, and you try to be so many different things, and you try to be you try to be cool, and you try to be like, you try to be a certain way, and you can't be other people. You got to be yourself.
Yeah.
And that's
it.
major advice to like my 16-year-old self. Like,
Same with
be
you
your
guys,
fucking self
though.
and don't be sorry for it.
Yeah. If you could go back and give yourself advice, what would you say?
It goes along the same lines, really.
Yeah.
It's just like my favorite quote ever, Tyler, the Creator: do whatever the fuck you want to do, because at the end of the day, who's there? You're on your deathbed.
That's
You're
it.
the only person that dies with you at that point.
That's it.
So
Endless.
ever since I heard that quote,
She's going to be singing at my funeral.
I'd be like, bitch,
Ever
I got
since-
you.
She's got Cardi B at my funeral. Fucking bouncing.
Ever since I heard that quote, I was just like, you know what? People are gonna think whatever the fuck they're gonna think of whatever
Yeah.
the fuck you do. It doesn't matter what you do. You could be doing what they expect you to do. They're gonna be like, you should be doing that better.
Still not.
It doesn't
Yeah.
fucking matter what.
It's
Doesn't matter.
never
if you
going to
do
be
it,
good
never
enough.
gonna be good
Just
enough.
do
So
it.
just do whatever the fuck
Just
you
fucking
want.
go. Like
Yeah.
whatever it is
Yeah.
that you want to be, the only thing stopping you being that is yourself.
It is.
Totally.
And when you realize that your potential becomes literally untapped, unlimitless. Once you realize that it doesn't fucking matter what people say, think, do, as long as you're happy, you're staying true to what you do, you can be as quirky as you fucking want to be. The quirky people are always the cool people that people
Yeah, we
remember.
Like Jack said, the people
Damn
with the
straight.
ADHD are the best type of
They're
people.
the- They really fucking are. They're the ones you remember. They're the ones that you think about, even if it's negative after the fact.
Yeah.
Like, that dude was so weird. You're talking about
You're
that
still
You're
dude.
not
talking
gonna
about-
remembered.
Any attention.
And I want to be that dude, you know?
Yeah.
You're pretty weird.
That's
man.
good for the fucking business model, you
All
know?
publicity is good publicity.
Exactly.
So speaking of publicity, where can our lovely audience find you? Abby, what's your handle?
Mine is abby.rose.smart.
Liss?
And mine is Liss_H_King.
Cool. And how long until they're
Perfect.
going to be able to listen to Don't Be Awkward?
Honestly, at the rate we're going right now, give this shit a few weeks, and we
hopefully
we
not
are.
long.
Looking forward
Not
I think
long.
We'll get
Yeah.
an Instagram started. We've
Yeah.
got content ready to go. It's just getting in the studio and recording.
Yeah, obviously with COVID, there's been like, I mean, I've just lost my job, like with lockdowns and stuff. In
So
New
you
South
got lots
Wales.
of free time to do a podcast.
So much free
Go
time.
for it.
I'm a busy bee, but
She's
I
the
always
busy
make time
bitch.
for her.
But you know, there's been a lot of change. There's been a lot of things. Obviously, we've been thrown that we can't handle and it's out of our control. So things have been put on the back burner. But this is the start of it. We're ready to go. We've got.
As I've said a bunch of times already tonight, I am very excited, and that's legitimate.
Thank you.
Like,
Yeah, we're keen to get you guys
I
on.
will
guys.
be 100% in there listening to all your guys' stuff because
Yes.
I love you guys. I
you
knew from day one, that first day that you guys came back, and I was talking to you guys, and I was thinking it before you said it, that I was like, these guys would be cool on a podcast. Individually, I said that about both of you. And then you came up to
Amazing.
me saying you guys have been thinking about doing a podcast. And I was like, yep, all right. I was on to something there.
Yeah, we
Fucking,
definitely took
I'm
a step
keen.
back and we're like, I think these guys see potential in us
Yeah.
that we don't see yet, but sweet.
It's so funny
means
though.
we can
It's
do
something
it.
we always say is like some best friends have matching tattoos, but we have matching mental health issues. That's why we're best friends.
That goes on a t-shirt. That's your first match.
I think
so-
that's our merch.
100%.
That's our merch.
That's our-
Don't be awkward. Have matching mental health issues.
Yeah.
Let's
That's it.
go.
Best friends don't have matching tattoos. They have matching mental health issues.
So we have an absolutely raging party outside. I would love to
We
get to.
do.
I would
We
love a
do.
shot.
We gotta
I need
get
to
to
pee
it. We need a
so
shot.
bad.
I gotta pee as
I
well.
can't
fidgeting.
sit still, I'm sitting
You're
here
like
going,
swinging the strap.
But you've been
Thank
listening
you,
to Before the
guys.
Money.
For the money, baby.
For the
Let's
fucking money.
go.
Let's go. Good night, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Check out
Thank you.
anarchylabel.com. Anarchylabel.com. We've just released a brand new collection. Go and check it out. There's lots of people outside repping it
amazing.
right now.
It's
I love
V
amazing.
The
Black.
people have spoken.
V.blvq on Instagram and all those other good social media sites. Hopeless drops the 31st of
It's banging.
August.
Party,
August.
party,
It's
let's
still
get
August.
fucking
Let's
ready.
go.
It's going to be out by the
And
time this.
Don't be awkward.
It's already
guys.
out.
Go and listen
keep
to Hopeless.
streaming it though because it's a banger.
Yeah.
Bye.
Amazing.
Before the Money, guys. Love you all. Good night.
Wrap, my brothers.